Pressed all the right buttons in the right order, and we're live now. Christine says hello, and
I say hello. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming.
yeah, this is our first stab at trying to do a live. Hopefully, we're live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. I keep wanting to say Instagram, but Instagram wasn't playing nicely with us, so no Instagram this time. Awesome. We have a lot of great content for y'all today. Oops, I said y'all. I'm letting my Midwestern.
Is that Midwestern or Southern?
It's Midwestern where I grew up. I was surrounded by corn, so I could easily go out and slap a cow on the butt where I grew up. So we said a lot of britches, a lot of y'all. It could just very well be that my parents were Southern and I didn't know it. But anyway,
you didn't know that they were Southern, or you didn't know that that was a Southern thing?
A little from column A, a little from column B. Possibly.
Score one for Ken's awareness. All right, cool.
We've got some friends behind the scenes that are going to help us moderate the chat in case there are comments or questions that slip my attention. They're going to yell at me through my other screen over here. And with that, we're going to get started. Hey, everybody. I'm Ken Wallace from the Nexus product team. And today I'm pleased to introduce my good friend, Dave Rodenbaugh. Dave Rodenbaugh is the founder of Recapture.io, an abandoned cart email and SMS marketing service for WooCommerce, Magento, and really any e-com platform you might be using, like Shopify, BigCommerce, Easy Digital Downloads, Restrict Content Pro, and many more. Recapture was founded in 2015 and has processed over 2 billion in gross merchant volume. That's billion with a B, friends. So far, Recapture has helped store owners like you recover over $246 million in their stores worldwide. So Dave has been doing this for quite a while. He's been a consultant for pretty much as long as the internet has been around. And in addition, he built and sold a couple really successful WordPress businesses. Today, Dave now works exclusively on e-commerce, and he has a passion for making merchants of all kinds more successful with their stores. So Dave is the co-host of the Rogue Startups podcast and the WP Minute e-commerce show. Be sure to give him a listen wherever fine podcasts are sold. You can also find Dave on Twitter, dispensing super valuable advice to e-commerce store owners just like you. Let's see. Dave and I first met back in 2011 at a business conference, and for some reason, he still talks to me and returns my calls. So I'm super excited to introduce him today. Hey, Dave. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, happy Wednesday to you too. And thank you for that very kind and named intro that basically is a nice way of calling me old.
I got a lot of gray too.
Yeah.
You were just smart enough to shave most of it off. I should do that.
That's the secret, is to just keep it really short and then nobody can tell exactly how old you are.
Right. So how are we doing today, Dave? What are we going to talk about? Store discounts, right?
Yeah. So Ken told you a little bit about my background here in e-commerce. I've been doing e-commerce almost as long as I've known Ken. We started kind of 2012, got serious with it in 2014, and I was selling digital products. And in that time, I learned a lot about how e-commerce works, the flow of things, the value of abandoned cart recovery, which is the reason I started and grew Recapture. But the one thing I have really discovered along this way, this path here, is that we all love to give discounts because we think it's like the go-to thing for growing a store, for attracting customers, to make them want to buy from us.
Right.
And the harsh truth of the matter is these discounts are probably hurting your overall business. And it's not something that is immediately obvious until you dig into the numbers, and you have to know what numbers to dig into and why, how the discounts actually impact that here. So, once you know what's going on with all of that, then you have to sort of say, all right, well, if I can't do this, or I shouldn't do this as much, what do I do instead? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. how do we figure out whether you can offer a discount or not? And if you can't or shouldn't, what should you do instead? That's the subject of today's talk.
Cool.
Shall we just dive on into it here? You're going to turn over the slides.
Yep. There we go. Screen is all yours, sir.
All right. Let me start my screen share because okay. I didn't do this from Chrome before. So now it's asking me for permissions. Awesome. There we go. Our first technical glitch of the day. Awesome.
It's okay. I'm ready. I'm prepared. I got cricket sound effect queued up here. Good to go.
Yeah, I'm going to have to bail and come back because, of course, Google can't change its settings dynamically. So I'll be right back.
Right.
Sorry.
Okay, no problem. So while I have everybody's attention while Dave's restarting, I want to encourage you, if you're a WordPress store owner, to go take a look at Iconic Sales Booster. That is a suite of WordPress plugins for WooCommerce that will help you cross-sell better in your e-commerce store. And let's see, I think Dave is getting ready to join us again. A little technical difficulty. We'll edit all this out in post. I mean, it's not like we're live or anything.
There we go. All
awesome.
right.
I was just getting ready
back.
to launch into some dad jokes, so I'm glad to have you back.
Yeah, well, I think the audience is really glad too. Yeah. All right, let's try this again.
Yeah, it's all yours.
There we go. Share that. All right. If you weren't sure that we were live, you absolutely know this is live now. Ken, can you see my slides okay?
I can see everything just fine. Yeah.
All right. Great. So again, thanks, Ken, for that kind intro. Like I said before, we're going to talk about discounts and what this really does to your store and how you're going to figure out whether this is something that's going to work for you or not, or how much of a discount can you offer. I think that's one of the questions that we as merchants really struggle with. Like, how do I know what's going to be attractive to people and is something that I can still afford to do? And some simple math will actually tell you what the answers are. In my experience with Recapture here in the last 7 years, most merchants don't know their numbers that well. And therein lies the problem. So we're going to talk about today what numbers you should look at, because there's lots of numbers out there and you don't need to pay attention to all of them. And a lot of people are just like, oh, geez, Dave, I got so much other things to worry about here. Customer support and order fulfillment and shipping and all of this sort of stuff. I get that. I totally get that. We'll hone it in on the key things that you really need to pay attention to. All right. So let's address the elephant in the room. I'm basically saying coupons aren't ideal, right? Am I saying that coupons are all bad all the time? What's really wrong with offering these discounts? Because, hey, Dave, it works, right? Yes, it does work, but there's a problem. Just because you've sent out a bunch of emails and text and you've offered your customers 20% off, it doesn't mean that that was the reason that they came and bought from you. I know you think it might be. There might be some other things at work there, especially when it comes to your profitability. So I would go so far as to say that discounts are a zero interest rate phenomenon. By sending out a discount, first of all, you are conditioning your customers to expect that your price is not really your price. And in the long term of your business, unless you set your margins incredibly high, you're going to have a hard time sustaining your business on that. I would like to point out that Bed Bath & Beyond, who lives and dies by discount, is currently dying. So discounts, even at scale, even with somebody who has mastered the ability to bring people in on the discount, still creates problems, because now if you want to shop at Bed Bath & Beyond, everybody expects that you're going to get a 20% discount. And you tend not to shop there unless you have that 20% discount. That conditioning is going to be a long-term issue. Maybe you feel like you can get away with it for now. You won't get away with it forever. Second of all, I am going to make a slightly controversial assertion, that is, you didn't test. You didn't check to see if your customers would have bought at the full price because they like what you're selling no matter what price you have it at. Or because your price is already reasonable and the discount was just like, it was icing on the cake. They're like, great, this is awesome. So my question to all of you is, how many of the customers that you brought in with a discount would have bought without the coupon? I'll bet you don't know the answer because you didn't test it. And that's a common thing with all merchants that I talk to. Lastly, bugging your customers with emails and texts and firing discounts at them all the time isn't going to be the long-term answer here. I can rattle off a dozen brands, and I'll bet you can join me on that list, Ken, and tell me about brands that are in your inbox that are constantly badgering you and asking you to come back and giving you a discount. Name one.
Eddie Bauer.
Eddie Bauer.
Yep.
I see Kohl's doing this all the time. I see Home Depot doing this all the time. Crate and Barrel, Sur La Table. These are all big names, big names. And I'll bet you have some in your own inbox that you've seen as well. Relentless contact is not the answer here. Nobody respects a brand that is constantly badgering them and offering a discount saying, hey, come back and buy. Hey, come back and buy. Hey, come back and buy. It just becomes a convenience thing. So we've got to think about the discounts in a slightly different way, right? There's a big difference between a brand like Nordstrom and a brand like Kohl's, right? Nordstrom rarely offers discounts. Kohl's is firing them at you all the time. Which of those two brands do you respect more? All right. So where does the problem on this actually come from? The problem is inside of your data. It's in your metrics. And the thing that I have noticed with most merchants is that most people don't know their metrics all that well until they get past a certain size. If you're under a couple $100K a year, you're probably not paying attention to these metrics. And I'll bet you're still offering discounts because you think that's the way to grow. The reality is you need to know if those discounts are something that is killing your overall business here. So if you don't know these 4 or 5 numbers off the top of your head, you should really go and install tools or do some analysis to kind of figure out, what do those things look like for my store? All right, so what are those things? First one is average order value, AOV. In other words, what does a single order tend to be worth across all of your purchases on average? How often do customers purchase from you? That's the purchase frequency. If you take those two numbers and multiply them together, you get the customer's lifetime value. So in other words, how much does a customer spend when they're at your store before they leave and go to somebody else, so they just stop buying from you altogether? Okay. So those first 3, a couple of them are easy. And then if you multiply those first 2 together, you get the medium one. So that's not too terrible to get those pieces of information out. And a lot of tools, including ours, puts those things in front of you so you can see that information. The harder stuff is your top line and your bottom line revenue. So what do I mean by that? I mean like your gross revenue. So the revenue, your actual sales volume. And then the bottom line revenue is if you take out the cost of goods sold and you take out your operating expenses, what do you get as net profit at the very end of the day? That one is probably the hardest to get because you're either spending time doing accounting, you've hired a bookkeeper to do it, or you got somebody on your staff that's constantly managing that. And I mean, even in my own business, I only see those numbers about once a month. But you should be seeing them frequently enough to know exactly how this stuff is affecting your business. And in my experience, most people are not paying attention to this. All right. So again, AOV times purchase frequency is going to equal the lifetime value of the customers. You need to know those 3 numbers cold. Those are probably the 3 most important. And then the bottom line revenue is the next one. All right. So what is it that discounts do to all of those metrics here? So we're going to look at several different scenarios. First one we're going to take a look at here is no discount at all. In other words, what does everything on a baseline sale look like if you don't offer any discounts? Then second, we're going to look at what happens if I just throw out a discount every order at 10, 20, 30% off. And then what if I just offer a discount on the first order because I'm not an idiot and I don't want them to get conditioned by discounts. So I'll just lure them in with one. So what does that do to your metrics as well? So let's take a look at each of those. First one, no discounts. We're going to assume that we have a store that has an average order value of $100. That's a little high for a lot of e-commerce shops, especially if you're selling consumables or low-grade consumer goods or drop shipping stuff. But, these numbers are just sort of easy to wrap your head around. So AOV of $100, and we're going to say that the customer comes across their lifetime and buys from you twice. Okay. And then after that, they just don't need your product anymore for whatever reason. So that means if we take 100 times 2, that means their lifetime value, their LTV is $200. Okay. Pretty straightforward, easy enough to understand. Now, what happens if I throw out a discount on all of those numbers for every single order? So now you throw out, you're being Kohl's, okay? You're sending out a discount code all the time in your abandoned cart emails, in your broadcasts and your promotional stuff. Every single time there's a discount code. So for your average order value, if I have a 10% off coupon, that means my AOV drops from 100 down to 90. 10% of 100 is 10, 100 minus 10 is 90, okay? If I take 20% off, my AOV drops to 80. If I do 30% off, my AOV drops to 70. I'm assuming that the purchase frequency is the same here. You've given them a discount for every order, so the incentives are still there, okay? They're coming and buying from you the same amount. But look what happens to the AOV. We go down to 180 at 10% off, 160 at 20% off, 140 at 30% off. This isn't terribly surprising here because 30% off of your total AOV, 30% off of the lifetime value is going to be $160. So 200 minus 60 is 140. Okay. Those aren't terribly surprising there. But here's what's going to be surprising. Sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right. So now if I just say I'm going to discount on the first order only, what does that look like? Again, same AOV, same frequency, same LTV of 200. So if I do 10% off first order, full price second order, that means $90 first order, $100 second order. Average order value between the two of them is 100 plus 90 divided by 2. That's 95. 20% off gives me 80 plus 100 divided by 2 is 90. 85 for the 30% off case. But now the purchase frequency is going to change a little bit. And the more of a discount you offer on the first order, the more it affects your purchase frequency. Now, I pulled these numbers out to make things sort of work out nicely for the screens and the slides here. But these are not that far off, especially when you offer higher levels of discount. When you offer a big discount the first time, and then they come back the second time and buy from you full price, that difference is pretty steep, and it really does impact the frequency of purchase for people. So it will drop. At 10%, you're probably seeing not a big difference between the first and second purchases, so you're still getting a full frequency of 2. At 20%, you might see a little bit of a drop, and at 30%, you see a pretty significant drop. And the LTVs drop accordingly. So 190, 95 times 2, and 90 times 1.75 is 158. So 30% off, but when the purchase frequency also decreases, your LTV goes down quite a bit. We started at 200. Now we're down to 127, $78 or $73 of loss in our LTV here. That hurts. That's big. So all of this doesn't take into account the expenses that you have to run your business. Things like advertising, shipping, the staff costs, the store costs, packaging, raw materials. And these aren't all of the costs that you could possibly have in there. These are just some of the things. Like I didn't even include merchant fees and other stuff like that. or refunds, returns, things like that. These are all going to go into your business and they get subtracted out of the sales that you are making. So if you're not taking this into account, you don't see how the discounts really impact your bottom line. So going back to our original case here, if I have no discounts and I still have a lot of costs into my orders. So if I have a cost per order of about $90 and I'm saying that my average order value is about $100, that's a 10% margin. That's not a lot to work with, but a good net profit in e-commerce averages around 10%. That's not a lot to work with.
Right.
Now, there are gross margins, and those things can be as high as 40, 50%. But those gross margins are only taking out cost of goods sold, things like your advertising and your merchant fees and refunds and returns and stuff like that. You still have all those other costs that go into it. So I like to look at the bottom line because this really tells you at the end of the day, can I really afford to do this or not? Okay, so if the costs for these orders are at $180 for 2 orders, and my LTV undiscounted is $200, that means I am making 200 minus 180. My profit is $20 or 10%. So what happens when I start throwing those discounts out there? At 10% off, my net profit drops to 0. Ouch. Okay. So by offering that 10% discount, I've already lost all of my profit. I may have gotten the customer, but what am I doing at the end of the day? I'm not making any money here. At 20% off, now I've lost 10% of my margin. And at 30% off, I'm losing 20% of my margin. That's pretty painful. Now, again, the good net profit on an average e-commerce store is around 10%. Well, what happens if I decide to get smart? I'm only going to offer the discount on the first order, Dave. Okay, great. Let's see what that looks like. At 10%, first order only, the costs are still the same. It still costs $90 for each of the orders. LTV is $190 now instead of $180. And my net profit is $10. So I'm making some money, but I'm not at my good net profit anymore. And at 20% off, again, I've reduced my net profit down to 0 already. And at 30%, I'm taking a 7% hit.
Wow.
So that's pretty substantial. If you don't know these numbers, you don't know the impact to your bottom line here. So you got to be super careful about that. That's the problem. And I know you're screaming in the back of your head, or maybe you're screaming out loud straight to your screen, Dave, discounts are driving traffic to my store. If I stop offering these discounts, nobody's going to come to shop. All my competitors offer discounts. Yes, I hear what you're saying. The customer sees a deal, the customer comes and buys from your store. Great. What if we rethink what it means to offer a deal? What if discount isn't the only thing we do? This is the part where we sort of reframe that. So discounts are not the only way to drive customer traffic here. I'm now going to talk about 10 different ways that you can create deals in your store or deals in the mind of a customer that don't actually offer giving them a hard discount until they buy a certain threshold from you, or they get to a certain average order value where you know you can afford that discount and it doesn't kill your profitability. So you're not just throwing them out there blindly without thinking about how it impacts your profitability. All right. Before I dive into those 10 here, we have to know about the Trinity of e-commerce. There are literally only 3 ways that you can grow your store's business. Not 4, not 10, just 3. You can increase the average order value. You can increase the purchase frequency, get the customers to buy more often, or you can simply get more customers. Almost everybody focuses on number 3. They run ads. They try to do promotions to bring out new customers in. They try to increase the word of mouth somehow. All of those things are great, but pull the first 2 levers first. And then when you pull lever number 3, everything goes up at the same time. So you want bigger orders, more frequent orders, and more people buying. All three of those is like gas on a fire for your e-commerce store. All right. So what were the 10 ways that I promised I would tell you? Let's start with number 1. So the first thing you should do is you should understand in all of the products that you're selling in your store, which ones have the highest margins. You should know all of these things somewhere in a spreadsheet or somewhere buried in your store's data to figure out, if I sell a t-shirt, a particular t-shirt, maybe that thing has an 80% margin on it because it is so dirt cheap to produce and it's so dirt cheap to ship. That kind of product is the first thing your customers should see. They should see it in your search results. They should see it in the product collections. They should see it in emails that you are sending to them. All of those things put that right in front of the customer's face, and that makes them more likely to click on them. It makes them more likely to buy them. So by putting the high margin products first, you're basically helping the customer make a decision with your most profitable products. They may be looking for other stuff, but sometimes people just pick things up and they're like, oh, that's really cool. I wouldn't have thought to get that. If you put it in there, they will take it. So there are all kinds of apps and extensions that can do this here to muck with your search results and put some certain things at the top, or you can do this with product collections. All of these things are possible. If you're sending out emails, you should definitely put your high margin products in there. All right, high margin first. When you are sending out emails after a purchase, this is a huge missed opportunity for so many merchants. A lot of the times, Ken, what do you get when you receive an email after purchase? What's the thing that you get most often?
You're talking about after I receive the receipt, or
No, the receipt. That's it.
oh, okay.
But do you get anything with the receipt? They just say, here's your receipt.
No, usually it's just, here's what you bought and here's how much you paid. And then sometimes you'll see the ship tracking notification soon thereafter. And
Yep.
and that also is just by itself.
Yep.
Nothing else on it.
Yep. You just missed 2 opportunities to send additional information to your customers. Those are the 2 most opened, most clicked, most paid attention to emails by your customers. They just bought something, so you know they're a good customer. They're opening the email because they want to know exactly what's going on with their order that they just bought from you, and they really care when it's going to show up. So guess what? You can put in opportunities in there to say, hey, you just bought this shirt. Guess what goes really good with it? We have a pair of shorts and a belt that would match it perfectly. And you can set these things up in your favorite email marketing tool. We've got ability to do that in Recapture. There's ability to do it in other ones as well. If they buy product X, suggest product Y. That's a cross-sell and an upsell. Those are easy emails to set up, and they make huge impact on buyer frequency. If they just bought something and they found something that goes great with it, they're going to buy the other one if they like it. There's more purchase frequency right there, right? Okay, cross-sell, upsell. These are underused emails. Number 3, bundles. Customers love it when you put together something that is incredibly valuable and you offer it at a good price. Now, what do I mean by a bundle here? So I have a lot of experience with this with digital products, but you can do this with physical products as well. There's plenty of examples of that. When we were selling WordPress plugins, I had the highest number of sales where I took all of the plugins that I put in and I said, okay, if you bought these things all separately, they would be, $59 times 14, whatever that number was, something obscene, like 400 and something dollars. I'll give you the whole thing for $199. So from a customer's perspective, this is really valuable. They get everything. They don't have to think about it. The onesie twosie stuff, they get it all in one bundle. Big deal to the customer, increases the average order value, and they feel like they got a lot of value without paying a lot of money. Okay. You can also do this with physical products. So here's an example with candles. I've seen candle vendors do this. So you might be selling individual candles during the holidays. And there might be one for Thanksgiving, and there might be a general holiday one, and there might be one towards the end of December for Christmas and New Year's or something like that. What if you were to bundle those all together and call it the Holiday Candle Special? And you put in 3 candles and you put it in for the price of 2.5 of them, or put in 4 candles and you have some really high value candles, high margin candles, and then put it in for a bundle price that still makes you more, and you have an average order value that's bigger than if you sold just 1 candle at a time. Those are the kinds of ways that you can grow your average order value there. There's probably an example of a bundle that works with your specific store. All right, here's another one. Ken, what is the reason that you love Amazon Prime?
Free shipping.
Ding, ding, ding. And what happened when Amazon Prime started offering free shipping? What did everybody else do?
They offered free shipping as well.
They kind of had to, right? If they didn't, then they're losing business to Amazon. But here's the problem. With free shipping, you can't just offer that blindly to everybody all the time because it isn't necessarily profitable. Amazon offers it because they are trying to capture your business, and they lose money on some of their free shipping things. I am certain that they have lost money on us and all of our free shipping that we've done. But if you say, hey, we'll offer you free shipping, but for orders over $80 instead of just orders over any price whatsoever, then you're forcing the customers to get a bigger average order value before you do the free shipping. And if you know that if it's over $80, your free shipping is covered and it won't cost you more, you're protecting your profitability at that point. So free shipping thresholds work. And again, there are apps and extensions that allow you to set this up to say, hey, if you're going to want free shipping in our store, you got to buy up to this amount. And it shows that in the cart. And you can show little trackers to say, hey, you're 75% of the way to your free shipping threshold. Guess what customers do when they're close to those free shipping thresholds? They go look for one more thing, right, Ken?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I bet you've done this too.
Oh, yeah. I've got experience with an e-commerce store where we added a tracker that said, hey, you're $6 away from getting free shipping. And then we would show products that were $6 and under.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. So there are definitely ways and apps that help you facilitate this with your customers. So you don't have to do this all manually. You just got to get an app that helps you do that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's brilliant. All right. Number 5, BOGO offers, either buy one, get one, or buy one, gift one. So what does this do here? So this is a great thing to offer around the holidays, where you are like, let's go with the candle example again. Maybe you want to buy some candles for your friends and you also want to have something at home. Well, you could buy a set of those 4 and also gift a set of those 4. BOGOs work best if you pair high margin products and low margin products together, so you protect the profitability and make sure that you get a larger average order value while still maintaining a good margin. Like, you don't want to put a bunch of low margin products together in a BOGO offer. That makes it a little bit harder to come out with a net profit. So again, you have to know your numbers here, right? But BOGO offers work really well. All right, what are the next 5? So you can do refer a friend programs here. So this basically is a way for you to engage. If you know that your customers are very social, let's say your customers hang out a lot on Pinterest or Instagram or Twitter or Snapchat or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can have them share the products that they just bought or your store in general, and then offer them either loyalty points or say, hey, if you've shared this for 10 people, we'll give you a coupon at that point. So out of those 10, maybe you know that one of those will definitely convert into a sale. Well, now you've increased your purchase frequency, so you can offer a discount and protect your profitability, right? So that way they're earning the coupons instead of you just giving them to them blindly. All right, what else? Giveaways. So I like to think of giveaways as kind of an advertising-like scenario. So I've seen this happen a lot around the holidays where a digital products vendor will go and say, hey, we're giving away a MacBook Pro. And maybe their audience is mostly freelancers. So this is something that's pretty valuable to freelancers, to have a brand new laptop, especially around the holidays. You're a little cash crunched anyway. So, hey, if you do these certain things, we're going to enter you into the giveaway. So one of them might be sharing our stuff on social. Another one might be going and making a purchase, and that gets you a certain number of entries into the giveaway. Trying to think what else. Yeah. Anyway, but the giveaway itself is a fixed cost. So if you do like a MacBook Pro, that's like $1,100 to $1,500 if you want to go for the lower end of that. So you buy that one thing, and then you generate a lot of buzz around this with your own email list. Say, hey, we're offering this giveaway, refer a bunch of people. So you're trying to get more people to come in and buy from the store. The giveaway is a fixed cost, and you can get a lot of juice out of that fixed cost there. As opposed to if you throw out discounts to everybody and say, hey, we're offering discounts in the month of November. Every single purchase that you comes in at a lower AOV. If you do the giveaway, every purchase comes in at the highest AOV. Big difference in your profitability there. Wow, and it's a fixed cost in terms of what you're giving away. Whereas with coupons, it's this constant bleed of money out of your AOV. All right. Another one here. Ken, have you ever been to the grocery store?
Oh, yes. Yes. Got a family of 6, Dave.
Yes. So what happens with a family of 6 at the grocery store checkout?
You got to steer them away from the items that are next to us, the candy bars, the chips, the magazines.
Yes. And why is that?
They want us to get all these last minute impulse buys on our way out of the store. So the kids, they put the candy bars right at kids' eye levels. It's a conspiracy.
It's a genius conspiracy, I'd like to add.
Yeah.
This is called an order bump. If you're not familiar with the terminology here, order bumps are when you get to checkout, there's a bunch of stuff that's just hanging out there. Literally every retailer has now figured this out. So if you go into someplace like Old Navy or REI, or the grocery store is the classic example. You're waiting to check out and you're standing there and they have a bunch of stuff around you. And that stuff is like, it's usually cheaper stuff, but it's very much impulse buys. Like, oh, I would never think to buy a little light that goes on my dog's collar, but boy, wouldn't that be really creative? And oh, look, they've got it in 2 colors, red and blue. So I can have them for 4th of July. I'll put it around their collar and they'll be all patriotic running around outside. That's the kind of stuff that works well as an order bump. And you can do this in your checkout using an app or an extension again. So maybe you have some lower cost items in your store. Throw those in at checkout and say, hey, for just a little bit more, you can do these. Or if you've put in this much into your cart, maybe offer them one of those at 25% off or a couple of them at 25% off. Again, once you've gotten past a certain AOV, you can start to offer a discount more profitably and just get them to slightly increase it a little bit more. That's what an order bump is. They're very, very effective.
It's genius when they offer things that you are going to need with the things that are in your cart, but you might have forgotten to add. Like in the grocery store, man, I know that I've got a splitting headache because I'm there with 4 kids. And there are Advil right there in the checkout lane, a little container for like 12 Advils, and same thing can work online too. The batteries that you might need for that thing, the accessory, the carrying case, there's all kinds of things that somebody might need to use the thing or to get more value out of the thing that you can offer to them at checkout.
Yeah. A great example in a clothing store is, let's say you sold them a shirt. Maybe you've got the cross sell in the cart and you've also gotten them to put in a belt and a pair of shorts. What could you do for an order bump? How about socks? Socks are probably your least expensive item in the clothing store there. Easy order bump, very much an impulse buy. And if you've got fun, creative little socks to go with it, boom, you've just pushed it up another $8 to $10. Okay. Next one here, gift guide emails. What do you struggle with the most around the holidays, Ken?
Knowing what to buy my spouse.
Everybody does this, and we all have different ways of figuring that sort of stuff out. So my wife actually goes and creates and looks for lists and gives me things that I should be getting for her during the holidays. That's genius. But what if your spouse doesn't communicate that stuff to you, or they want to be surprised? Well, use a gift guide. Send a gift guide out with stuff from your store, or maybe partner with another store that is complementary to what you have and create a gift guide of both of your products in that PDF and send this out to your customers. So you can use this for Father's Day. You can use this for the holidays. You can use this for birthdays, gifts for men, gifts for mothers, gifts for cooks, gifts for anybody. You can come up with these lists that are specific to whatever holiday you're talking about. People really struggle with what to buy other people. And if you can come up with a list of things that are in your store, you will make them more likely to buy. You're taking the work away from them. And again, this costs you almost nothing but a little bit of your time. But it is a huge advantage for your customers because it gives them the ability to buy from your store with less friction. All right, last one here. Gift with purchase. This is kind of like the buy one, get one thing here. If you say, and again, you can do this with an app or an extension, say, if you have an order of $100, you get a free gift. So let's say you're doing this with makeup or some consumables or something like that. So you're doing, maybe you sell protein shakes, and you could say, order $100 worth of protein shakes, and we'll throw in this gift that is like a shaker bottle for free. Okay. Maybe you have 100 shaker bottles in your warehouse, and they just come with your stuff, and you're like, well, we ship them occasionally free to anybody who asks, but they're mostly just taking up space. Give them to your customers. It adds value to that. All right. That's an example. Another example, a gift with purchase might be, say, hey, if you get 2 candle bundles, maybe we'll give you a guide that says where to place the candles in your home for maximum impact. So it doesn't have to be a thing. It can be something that helps educate your customers, something that helps make them better at what your product is going to let them do. Make it easier for your customers to use your products here. So it's good to pair high and low value things together in order to do that gift with purchase. They buy the high value, high margin thing, give them a low value gift as a thank you for that. All right. That was our 10 different ways here. Again, I want to remind you the Trinity of e-commerce. There's only 3 ways to grow the store. What are they, Ken?
Increase AOV, increase frequency, and get more people to buy stuff from you.
Yep. Make their cart bigger, make them come back and purchase more carts, get more people to the store. That's it. So how do those 10 things that we just looked at here affect those 3 metrics? Well, high margin first, bundles, free shipping thresholds, and BOGO are all about boosting the AOV. Cross-sell, upsell is about boosting the frequency. And if you're looking at refer a friend giveaways, this is about getting more customers back to the store. And the last 3, order bumps, gift guides, and gift with purchase, they're higher AOV in all of them. And gift guides also help increase the frequency. So none of these involved discounts. None of these involved trying to take away your margin here. All of this helps protect the profitability of your store. So I hope that was super valuable for you here today. I do want to say thank you very much. And again, like Ken said at the very beginning of the presentation, I run a service called Recapture. We do email and SMS marketing for e-commerce. We are really good at helping you increase your AOV and your purchase frequency through email. That's pretty much our jam. We work really well if you have an in-house team and you're struggling to get your email marketing done. You want something that's easy to use. You don't have a big budget for an agency. You're trying to manage this all for yourself. We're really good at that. I would welcome any questions that you might have. There's my email address. We also have a bonus for you today. You can scan the QR code there. You can type that into your browser, your choice. But yeah, I'd like to open it up for questions, and I'll put the slide back up here in just a second. But yeah, thank you so much.
That was awesome, Dave. Thank you. And, I loved the subject because it really highlights how you can compare value between you and your competitor. It's one thing if you're offering competing discounts, because a customer can just have two tabs open and flip back and forth and say, well, this person's offering the thing for 40% off and this person's offering it for 60% off today. So that's an obvious no-brainer choice. But if you're competing on value, if you're adding value, the buy one get ones, the including things of to increase the value of my purchase, that's harder for me to compare apples to apples. Now it's more of a subjective purchase. It's a more subjective choice. And I'm going to go with the brand that I trust more, and other factors of whether or not that value is useful for me. Those kinds of choices are much easier to win, even though you're not competing on that discounted price with your competitors.
Yep. I mean, at the end of the day, if you offer a ton of value and the customers like what you're buying, you don't necessarily have to discount it. Again, I would strongly encourage you to go and do some testing on this. See if you can split part of your email list, and you have an email list, right? Everybody should have an email list. You should have an owned channel. That is a must in this day and age. But take that list, split it in half, send half of them the non-discounted, send half of them the discounted. See which one comes in and purchases more. Do some testing on that. And you might find that your sales rates aren't all that different from when you don't offer the discount and when you do. And if that's the case, stop offering the discount so much. Like, make yourself more Nordstrom's. There are so many brands, especially in the DTC space, that really compete on value. They push themselves as the premier brand for something, or we are the go-to brand for nutrition, or we're the high-end version for clothing or whatever. Like, we're a boutique. There's lots of words and phrases that you can use to conjure that image in your customer's mind. They don't mind paying more for something when there's value to be had there.
Yep.
You have to explain that value and make it clear why the customer should buy. Is it because your mission? Do you do donations to charity? Like, there are other techniques that you can do that attract certain kinds of customers that aren't discount driven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you also make it clear that you are
Can you put up the little thing at the bottom, Ken?
I can do that. 1 second. Let me,
because while we're chatting here, if somebody wants to go, that we don't have the slides up anymore. So there we go.
Oh, it's shiny and everything. Before
shiny.
I do that, let me Christine had a comment that literally just downloaded a shopping app this morning. She bought something. The receipt said she had 91 cents cash back.
Yeah. I mean, your receipt, you just paid attention to that receipt, right? So this is a huge opportunity to make sure that your customers come back and look. And that's so you're doing the loyalty thing here. Oh, they gave me a little bit of money back after I spent all the money there. Cool. I'm going to come back and buy again. Higher purchase frequency, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just genius. What I was going to say is, if you make it clear, I mean, everybody's struggling to stand out with their brand, and lift themselves above their competitors so that their buyers and their customers find them on some reason other than price, right? And if you make it clear of why you're not giving the discounts, say that you plant a tree for every purchase, or a certain percentage of the purchase goes toward the charity or benefit or the cause. If you make those things clear to your customers, then they'll have a stronger affinity to your brand. So they'll not only pay the higher price, you'll not only preserve your margins, but they will actually come back and shop more because they have a stronger affinity for what you're doing with the money. One of the brands I recently purchased from was Sawyer. They make a water filter for hikers, and it doesn't work as well as some of the competition. It doesn't work as fast. It's a little it's a little bulkier looking. It doesn't look as high tech, but I know that they give 90% of every dollar that I spend there to causes around the world, to getting clean, fresh water to people that need that in the world. So that's something I resonate with, and I'll happily pay the 50 cents or whatever it is more to use the uglier water filter, because I have an affinity to that brand, and I think there's so many opportunities for that everywhere. So
value-based purchasing is something that really resonates with younger generations, for sure. and you can't discount that anymore.
Yep.
Get it? Can't discount that. Dad jokes. Yeah.
Yes, the dad jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you're testing, you know, offering more value or bundles or BOGOs or you know, referral programs, and you're testing those against your discounts. I mean, you can also talk to your customers about where are you putting that money that you're saving, that those margins are going more toward our cause. Those margins are going more toward this charity. Those are all more marketing events where you can go out and get more customers, and you can increase order frequency from those communications.
Yep. We have several brands on Recapture that use made in the USA as a brand distinguishing thing. So they do all of their own manufacturing in-house.
Yeah.
And so they build their products. They're a little more expensive, but they're higher quality. And for a lot of people, like they want to buy stuff that's not going to fall apart, and made in the USA kind of has that connotation with it. So they're like, we don't offer discounts, and you know, this is why, because we pay our staff a fair wage. We make all this stuff in-house. We source all the materials locally. And this is what the cost is for us to have a sustainable business. And they make bank on that. They're a 7-figure business.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent presentation. Anybody have any questions? We do have a dozen viewers right now. So if any of you have a question for Dave, or if there's something particular that stood out to you that really helped, that sticks in your mind, please let us know. What are some good examples? I was thinking about this morning. What are some good examples of ways to mitigate if you're in a really competitive space, and your competitors are offering that huge Black Friday deal, and you know very well that a lot of people that would have normally bought from you are just really waiting for Black Friday. They're just like, you know, your competitor offered that huge 75% off on Black Friday, so why would I buy from you today in June?
So, well, I mean, Black Friday, buying from them in June versus later in the year, that's a tougher distinction, right?
Yeah.
But if you know that let's say you have a competitor and they discount heavily around Black Friday every single year, figure out how you could do a bundle or a BOGO offer, and then don't wait for Black Friday. Start at the end of October.
Yeah.
And capture those sales early, because if they buy from you 3 weeks before Black Friday, guess who they're not buying from on Black Friday?
Right. I love that.
Because people don't tend to buy from the competitor and you together. That doesn't happen very often. If they're like budget conscious, which I think, you know, given the economic conditions these days, a lot of your customers probably are budget conscious. Make a choice that makes them want to decide now, but put a time limit on it. Say, you know, don't say, well, we're offering this between now and Black Friday. Say it's 1 week only. We're doing our Black Friday sale early because we know you're going to want to spend time with your family. So we're offering it now. We're going to take care of all the shipping and everything, so our families can also enjoy Thanksgiving as well. Okay. So now you've got a values proposition to say, hey, we respect families. We respect your time. We're offering the discount now. Here's what it's going to be. It's only going to be for a week. Boom.
I love that. Another, you said respectful of time, and I'm thinking of sometimes if you're, if the products that you sell are consumable products that somebody might need on a certain schedule, there's another opportunity to bring people back to the store, to find other ways other than just sending them a 20% off coupon for getting more coffee. You can bring them back to the store with more creative BOGOs or value added offers. So because they
or
didn't
just
run out of the
simple
coffee,
replenishment reminders. If you have a consumable that runs out every 30 days, like let's say you sell protein shakes, and you know that they bought 30 days supply of protein shakes, at 21 days, send them a reminder, say, hey, we know you bought this back on this day. We're going to be running. We know you're running out soon. Would you like us to do a reorder? And just have something that automatically adds that to cart. No discount, just a reminder.
Yeah, because once they run out of the thing, now you've reopened that whole buying decision. Well, I could go back to that site and buy that again, or I could relook at the whole landscape and see what their competitors are offering.
Yeah.
So take that decision inflection point out of the equation. And so, okay, we know that, say they bought a candle, we know that the candles might, they might need a new one, or if they need a new, I don't know, a scented candle warmer or something like that. Make sure they're flush with those things. Remind them to order so that they're just not running out, whether it be protein bars or candles, coffee. There's so many things that
Mhm.
you're going to run through.
Yep. Yep. Oh, Christine just
Um,
commented that contact lens websites do that. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Absolutely. My wife gets badgered on her contact reminder. She buys a 6-month supply, and about 1 month before her supply runs out, they send her an email saying, "Hey, it's time for an eye exam. Go get that so you can renew your prescription or send your new prescription." So yeah, that's a great example. So many sites that's an underutilized opportunity on many sites to remind people that they bought a consumable, it's probably running out, and it's time for them to come back.
Yep.
Easy post-purchase or win-back email.
That works offline too. We just got an email from our dog groomer that we just switched to a new dog groomer, and she sent us an email saying, "Hey, I've got some time coming up. Molly probably will need a groom in
Mm-hmm.
about 2 weeks, and I just happen to have some openings, but they're filling up fast. So if you don't want Molly to get too shaggy, we have a golden doodle, and she'll look like a big
Boom.
pile of fur if we let it go too long."
Yeah.
I mean, and I was like, "That's super smart." We've never had a groomer do that before. In the 8 years we've had this dog, no one has ever sent us a reminder. We're always scrambling at the last minute. And by the time we can find an open time slot with somebody willing to shear this sheep
Yeah.
of a dog we have, it's out of control. But she told us in a timely fashion where we could make sure that we got her in there and still have the haircut we wanted for our dog.
Yep.
Anyway, it works offline and online.
Yep, that's a top tier merchant, somebody who can remind their customers that it's time to come back and do a thing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think that's it for today. Unless there's any more questions, I think that's our time.
Cool.
Dave, I really appreciate you spending time today. And I know we had a couple technical glitches early, but that was a stellar presentation. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much. And thank you again for having me here. I hope everybody enjoyed it and got a lot of value out of it. Again, put up the QR code again.
Yeah.
A quick last minute reminder here. So that page right there allows you to come in and get copies of the slides, some emails. I didn't mention this here, but we have 3 bonuses here. So you can get a copy of the slides that I did today. You can get some sample post-purchase emails that do exactly all the things that I talked about here from vendors that have done this. So if you're struggling for how would I do this? What would that look like? How could I word that? I'm going to provide you a swipe file of stuff that allows you to go and do that. But you have to sign up and put your email address in here and tell me that you want this stuff. The third bonus that comes with this is if you want to sign up and use Recapture, you want to do this stuff with your store, we can totally help you do that. Our email service gives you, abandoned cart recovery, post-purchase emails, win-back emails. These are all high AOV, high purchase frequency increasing emails. And so we are offering 50% off of a paid plan for the first 90 days with us. That's exclusive to Nexus here. We don't offer that with anybody else. So that's the best deal that we've got going right now. We would love it if you were interested in switching over, and we can definitely help you make more money on your store using email.
Hey, I'm
Yeah.
going to put that last slide up too, because for the people that are watching on their phones, the QR code's not that helpful. So I got that comment the other day. It's
Oh,
like,
there we
I
go.
can't use a
Yeah.
QR code because I'm already on my phone. So the address is recapture.io/nexus special. Nexus special there.
Yep.
And
And
I can
again,
put it in
3
the chat.
bonuses: the slides, the email swipe file with sample post-purchase emails, and the 50% off Recapture for 90 days.
Got it. All right. I got too many buttons I can click here. All right. Thank you so much again, Dave. And thanks everybody for tuning in. And I hope everybody has a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week.
Thanks again, Ken. Take care,
Thank you.
everybody. Happy emailing.